Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Pantydeal podcast with me, your host, Dragon Lady 22. Today, we have another special guest on the podcast. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you'll know that we have already interviewed a couple of sellers from Pantydeal. Well, today we are going to interview one of our lovely buyers. So I'm really excited for this. I think it's really important as a seller to get into the minds of buyers and to understand exactly what it is that they're looking for, because this can help you create more sales on the site, and it just strengthens the community if everybody understands where everybody's coming from and what everyone's looking for. So without further ado, let me introduce today's guest, and that is TruGentlemanPD. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. So I'm not gonna refer to you as TruGentlemanPD because that's
okay.
That's a bit of a mouthful, but I know your name is Scott, so I'll just call you Scott. So welcome, Scott. If you could just start by telling us, well, just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. I am TruGentlemanPD, otherwise as Scott, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I'm a bit of an explorer. I love to travel and seeing and meeting new people in different cultures around the globe.
Wow. Great.
I'm currently working in our family construction business and making sales and also doing hands-on on the job sites.
Cool. Where are you from, Scott?
I'm from Ohio.
Ohio. Okay. I love your accent so much. Okay, that's great. How long have you been buying used panties or on Pantydeal specifically?
On and off for probably over 3 years now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And
It's been an interesting experience the whole time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
So,
So were
I mean,
you, sorry, is
go
that how
ahead.
long you've been buying panties for, or is that just how long, have you just always been on Pantydeal, or were you buying in other ways?
Well, it was kind of on a whim that I got on there, really. I mean, it was more of I just got on there and kind of was perusing the sites and met a few people and went from there. So,
Fantastic. And how did you discover that you had this fetish? Like, were you just Googling it one day or what?
well, the funny thing, the funny thing is, it started off when I was in puberty. I discovered, I don't know what you know, if you know what this is, but it's the Sears catalog.
Is that a lingerie catalog?
Actually, it's a store here in the States. Basically, they sell just about everything, but they have a section where they have women in there in panties and bras and all that. So I just find it kind of sexy. Uh, but that was my puberty age, so obviously anything got me aroused. Um, but the real moment came when I was having drinks in a hotel, and I was on a business trip. I met this absolutely stunning woman at the bar. We talked, and things were going rather well until she got a call and had to go back to her room to go online for work. She kind of apologized and thanked me for the evening, gave me a kiss, and was off. Well, the next morning, I saw her leaving in her workout clothes, walked past her room, and of course, the door was open for cleaning. So curiously, I walked in and noticed her clothes on the floor, and on the top of those were her panties.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God. Did you take them?
I picked them up and shoved them in my pocket.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I bet your heart was absolutely racing.
Oh, it was. It was. The cleaning lady then walked in, and I quickly walked past her. I kind of ran out the door and was outside for, about 15 minutes and went back to my room.
Oh my goodness.
And, well, the thing was, as I began to smell them, there was a knock on the door.
Oh no. Oh no.
And there stood the hotel manager.
You were joking.
No.
Oh my God. What did you do?
he asked me why I was in a room.
Right.
And I made this excuse like, well, I mistakenly thought it was mine.
Right. Okay. Good one. Fast thinking there.
Yeah. But then the woman, she kind of came back down the hallway. So me and him walked toward her room and we met her.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, he asked her to go look in the room and see if anything was missing.
Oh my God.
She walks in the room and she comes out and she has this little sly smile on her face. And she looks at me and she said, well, she looked at him actually and she said, nope, everything's good.
Oh my God. Oh thank God.
And then, she turns around and she walks back in and she gives me this little wink. The thing is, I never saw her again.
Oh my God. But you kept her panties, right?
But damn, I enjoyed those panties.
Oh my God. That is the best story I've ever heard on any panty community. That is fantastic. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, that's quite a first experience, isn't it? So how do you,
Oh, yeah.
from that to buying online, like, how did you discover that that was a thing?
Well, like I said, it was kind of a whim. After I was separated from my ex, I kind of got into it, and like most guys, you get online and you're kind of looking around and discovering things and going on the porn sites and all these things. I got on there, and like I said, I just met a bunch of people, and I thought it was really cool. So.
Fantastic. Do you have any other fetishes, or would you say that you're just a panty fetishist through and through?
Well, I am kind of dominant and take charge in the bedroom. I mean, spanking, belts, tying up, a little choking, hair pulling.
Right.
I mean, I prefer submissive, young, I mean, not young, but yet confident women.
Okay.
Um, that and kind of public places. I mean, the thrill of sex, trying to be quiet and not getting caught is always a big rush. So.
Yeah. Wow. I can see we've definitely picked the right buyer for this interview because you're just full of surprises, Scott. I mean, obviously, for anyone listening, I've known Scott for a while. Obviously, we're both on the same community on Pantydeal, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like all these little things about you I didn't know. So that's really exciting. Okay, so what do you like most then about buying used panties on Pantydeal?
Um, well, it's not a most thing. I'm just very keen on scents.
Okay.
For lack of, I'd say a better word, I mean, the animalistic tendency of sexual beings is such a turn on. I mean, when women's pheromone levels are really high, especially during ovulation, it becomes kind of like an aphrodisiac for me.
Yeah.
Smell and enjoy that aroma.
Yeah.
And add to that, I mean, you add the intimacy, and it's kind of a win-win situation for everyone involved. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, that connection, being able to connect with the person whose item you're going to receive is, that's what's really good for most buyers, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do any of your friends and family know about this?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a secret. It's more of a lifestyle choice.
Okay.
I mean, have I shared it? Yes. I mean, with my ex-wife and a recent girlfriend.
And what was their response?
Um, my ex-wife, she kind of, she kind of didn't not. I mean, it was kind of a disallowment of it, so it was she kind of quashed it for me.
Okay.
But my the girlfriend that I had, she was bisexual. And she actually purchased a few pairs for her. I mean, I did for her.
Wow.
I mean, I don't speak openly per se, but more so because I don't feel I need to justify my lifestyle to anyone else.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, there's no harm in it, and it's natural.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for all of us, it's kind of natural. So.
Yeah, I think that's a really good attitude because a lot of people, feel really ashamed about having this fetish, like they're doing something wrong. And,
Yeah.
there's a bigger question there about doing it within the confines of a relationship, particularly if, like yourself, your partner is not happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, just having that attitude, I think, is really refreshing, and just going, yes, so what, because
Yeah.
a lot of people are feeling this fear of being outed, like of being found, and they want to stay anonymous. And I get that, especially for sellers as well. But like, if we just all had this attitude of like, yeah, so what, it would
Yeah.
just make things so much easier.
Oh, it definitely would. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. What
Okay.
do you look for specifically in the panty sellers that you choose?
I'd say they're genuine and not pushy.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of like if I go shopping for a car. I mean, the worst thing for a salesperson to do is kind of rushing me and immediately try to steer me towards something they want me to buy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know what I like and what I'm seeking. So if I have a question and an interest, I'll ask.
Okay.
I mean, having said that, I mean, if they have fun and not pushing a sale, I kind of welcome those interactions. So it's
Okay.
it's it really all depends on that type of interaction that I'm looking for.
Okay. So leading on from that then, are you likely, if you find that connection with that person, to just buy from them and only from them? Or do you have a thing where you're like, no, I have to have all different panties from all different sellers, like I couldn't go for the same one twice? Do you know what I mean?
Well, my thing is I buy from specific buyers.
Okay.
I mean, I do buy from others. If someone piques my interest, I'll give them a try.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I mean, you never know when someone may leave or may not be available.
Mm.
So again, it's I know what I like, and when I find a seller that I'm comfortable with and trust, it makes it easier and ultimately more enjoyable for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, as a seller, I'm always curious about this because obviously I have repeat buyers who come back to me, once
Hmm.
every month or two or whatever. And then I have new buyers who, once I've delivered their panties, I never hear from them again, like ever, like they're
Sure.
still around. And I'm always just curious, like whether there's two different types of buyers, like the ones that really just want, like it's like, I don't know, collecting Pokemon cards or something. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to
Yeah.
have the same one twice, right? Or
Yeah.
whether, but then equally, I know there are buyers who are like, this is my seller. I only go to this seller. I will not buy from anyone else. So,
Well, I mean, it's not. I don't necessarily think that it's that. I think. I mean, I don't want to put anybody. Well, I don't want to put anybody down, but no, I'm not going to say that. There are some people on there that it's ultimately their thing to get as many as they can.
okay.
So
Yeah. Well, that's not a bad thing for us, I
no,
suppose.
it's not either. It's not.
Okay. So, I don't know what age you are, Scott, and I'm certainly not going to ask you to divulge that publicly, but is this
I'm
something
older
that you can
than
see?
dirt.
Is this something that you can see yourself doing like long term, or is there anything that would potentially make you stop? Like, perhaps as you've said already, getting into a relationship. I mean, are you in a relationship right now? Do you mind if I ask?
No, no, I'm not. I'm not in a relationship right now, and I'm not actively seeking one. I mean, I do have, a friend with benefits, so it's kind of a different thing. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Um, but besides that, no.
Okay. But can you see yourself like reaching a point where you go, right, no more panties. I'm done.
When I'm dead.
Okay. So hopefully not for a few more decades then, 'cause it's such a young thing, I'm sure. Okay, so from a buyer's perspective then, what advice would you give for sellers in terms of like what characteristics do they need to succeed in this business? Because I'm sure, you've been in this community for a while. I've been here for, almost a year, I suppose. Um,
Mhm.
you do see a lot of sellers coming and going for whatever reason, but if you had to say, right, okay, like this is what it takes to succeed, what sort of advice would you give them?
Excuse me. Um, let's see. I would say the biggest thing is perseverance,
Okay.
um, and honesty. I mean, really, honesty is a big one. Believing in themselves, because I mean, a lot of girls on here don't necessarily believe in themselves, but there's a myriad of buyers out there who will definitely buy from you.
Okay.
Um, and the perseverance thing, I mean, it comes with the ability to take a no as well as a yes.
Mm. Yep.
I mean, because for every, like, I'd say 10 no's, you're probably going to get a yes.
Yep.
And a big thing is a good sense of humor.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you have to be able to take it and let it slide sometimes, and you have to be able to you know, just have a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
um and
Yeah.
the other thing is, there has to be a good supply of ginkgo biloba, because you're not going to remember everything. And that's a little inside joke.
Okay. Yeah, I know that's a herb that stimulates brain activity, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, in memory.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you touched on something really important there, though, and this is what I try to educate sellers about, and that is about any sales job. Any sales job. It doesn't matter if you're selling cars or panties or anything else. You have to understand that there will be a certain level of rejection and
Oh
be
yeah.
okay with that. And, I was reading a sales book the other day that said if you make, and this was for more transactional sales, if you make one sale out of 100, you are a superstar salesperson, right? And
Hmm.
for a lot of people, they just don't have that realistic expectation that, yeah, you could reach out to 10 buyers and maybe only one will actually reply and be interested.
Absolutely.
And that's good. Like, that doesn't mean you're failing. Like, that's
No.
actually a good thing. And just, yeah, a thick skin as well is really important. And then the other thing that I would say, based on what you're talking about, is yeah, like a sense of humor, but being able to compartmentalize this work alongside the rest of your life, like, and not let
Yeah.
it sort of, infiltrate, if you like, and sort of get to you or get you down in any way, like particularly if you're not making sales or whatever. It's really important to just kind of, yeah, like, treat it as fun, and
Oh,
you'll,
that's the big thing, is having
yeah,
fun.
exactly, and you'll have way more success, because if buyers can see that you're having fun, then they'll want to be part of that, right? I mean, that's like just,
Absolutely.
that's common sense. If you go to a party and there's one person looks like they're having really good fun, like, not crazy fun, but good fun, then you want to talk to them, you want to hang out with
Well,
them.
that's the thing. Everybody gravitates towards them, so
Yeah,
that's a part of it. So,
exactly, exactly. And it's hard, don't get me wrong. Like, sometimes I see how it could be, after a few knocks, like, it's harder to get yourself back up and you may be lacking confidence. But really, you've got to kind of overcome that in your head to be able to make the sale, to sort of bring
mhm.
it's like a what do you call it? Like a catch-22
It's
situation.
a catch-22.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
You've got to have
absolutely.
the confidence to sell, and you've got to sell to get the confidence, kind of idea. So yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
really interesting. Thank you for that. Okay, so yeah, what would you say to people, like, so we've talked about the seller's perspective. What about buyers then, who are maybe apprehensive about either joining the site or buying from the site or buying panties online in general? Like, what advice would you give to them?
Um, that's. I mean, the hardest part about that is just getting. Well, here's the thing I do when I look towards sellers. I look at their pictures, and then I look at their bio, and then I look at their reviews, and kind of uh, their, all the other things that are involved in it. And the big thing is, if you want to get into it, then you have to kind of delve yourself into it, but not to the point of just saying, lackadaisically saying, "Oh, I'm going to go with this one or this one." Just take your time.
Okay.
Um, it's more of that, taking your time, and looking at different girls and who appeals to you, because there's plenty of girls out there that may appeal to you, and that's the biggest thing is who appeals to you. And when it comes down to that, just making that decision and moving forward.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess there has to be an element of trust on your side.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned the sellers need to be honest. And I think, equal to that, the buyers have to have trust
Oh,
in
absolutely.
the sellers. And that's a big ask sometimes.
Yeah, trust. I think trust is a big thing.
Yeah.
That's more than anything else is the trust point of it. That you know, where when I first started, that's the thing, that I didn't have a lot of trust.
Mm.
But after a while, you get to learn that, you get to know, and the honesty part of it comes out. Even just messaging and texting, you can kind of get that from
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah. No, that's really a good point. And yeah, I think for first time buyers, my advice would always be to look at the reviews. I know you're saying like the
hmm
pictures and the bio and the reviews, because they're there for a reason. And especially
absolutely,
if you're lacking that trust, then at least you can make a qualified decision based on, reviews to begin with, until you
absolutely.
build your knowledge base around the site and get to see, regular posters,
hmm
what people sell, and and people's personalities, because the personalities, for me anyway, do come out on the overview page. Like it's clear to see the different vibes that sellers have, and then you can tune into that. But you're right, like take your time for sure. And then when it comes to making that first commitment financially, then reviews will certainly help to
Yeah.
alleviate any trust concerns that you may have. And then thereafter, you'll get a good feel for who's selling what and what you're looking for. So yeah, that's a really good piece of advice there. Okay, so that's us reached the end of the interview, Scott. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
I mean, there was one thing. I mean, you know, some people have a bias against people that may do this,
Mm,
and my thing is, it's kind of to each their own. I mean, I don't judge people for what they do, so why judge me if I'm not hurting anybody else
yeah, live
when it
and
comes down to it?
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
if I don't affect your life, I mean, why should you worry?
yeah. No, that's a really good piece of advice there. Is yeah, live and let live. Let us all
Yeah,
just get on.
exactly.
If nobody's getting hurt, then let's just all have fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
thank
that's the big thing about it. It's all fun.
It is. It's all fun. Well, thank you so much. I've really, really enjoyed this interview. It's been
Oh,
really,
I did too. I did too.
and I just want to say thank you for giving us your time this
Well,
morning.
thank you. Thank you. And I have to say, you do a really good job of helping the sellers.
Thank you.
Um, I have to put that out there because you're one of the people that does a great job at that. So I appreciate it. And a lot of other buyers appreciate it also.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Scott. I really appreciate it.